Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. On tonight's Versus, we have Russell's Reserve coming in at a 45% ABV, at least 10 years old, versus Old Forester 1924, coming in at a 50% ABV, at least 10 years old. So, for me personally, I'm a huge Russell's Reserve fan. I love coming from Wild Turkey, I love their products. This is such a common bottle on my shelves here in Indiana, like it's on everything. And more recently with the 1924 coming out, I was like, well, what can I do some comparisons on if you can't find this? Is this a good replacement? They're both bourbon whiskeys coming from Kentucky. This is pretty common. This is not, though it is part of their core lineup supposedly. This does have a little bit less ABV, but they're both 10 years old. So my thought was, what's the big difference on these two bottles? So we're going to talk about color, notes, taste, wrap it up in the market price section, and maybe pick a winner. We'll see. But as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in the individual reviews over either of these bottles, they'll be linked up above and down below, along with some other 10-year-old bourbons that I have, which I have a couple. But with this being such a new bottle, I was like, well, no one's going to be able to really, truly find this until the market kind of balances itself out. Which, again, they tell us that this will be part of the Whiskey Rose series, so should be available at some point. Wow. Boy, oh boy. Very close in color. I was actually originally thinking this was going to be darker, but I think I could flip-flop these two, and I could not tell you which one's which. They are drastically similar on that. So, let's start for notes on the Russell's Reserve. Oh, that's so good. I love Russell's Reserve again. Getting a lot of the classics in here. A little bit of oak, vanilla, caramel. Nice layer of baking spices in there. Again, get kind of a dry cinnamon. Maybe a little bit of orange or an orange zest. Yeah. There is a little bit of ABV on the nose. I'm not going to say there's not. It's got a little warmth on there for me today. But if you're a Wild Turkey fan like I am, man, this is just a great nose. Very little to complain about, to be honest. All right. Let's go for notes on the 1924. Oh, man. That is definitely different. This has so much more oiliness to it. It's a little richer. The fruit notes show up so much more present on this one for me. For me, I get like a nice orchard, kind of an apple sweetness, but also berries like blueberry, blackberry. Spice layers are really showing up. But the nose for me is so much oakier. Got a little more oiliness going on the 1924. Where here, this goes very soft, very sweet, but again, more like wood sweetness going on. Definitely get that caramel, almost a brulee effect. Man, that nose for the 1924. That is such a good nose. I love that. And again, I came in here expecting me to just fall in love again with Russell's Reserve right from the get-go and really spank around the 1924. And it's proven me wrong. All right, let's go for taste on the Russell's Reserve. To be honest, that's a hard sip to argue with. There's a lot of corn sweetness in this one. A little corn forward, a little dustiness in there. I'm also getting that bit of barrel spice going on. The oaks, vanillas, the caramels are showing up. Get a little dry cinnamon for me as well in the taste. I just really like it. I love Russell's Reserve's profile. Like that light bit of spice in there from the rye. And it's not overhanded in that, so you're really letting that corn and the barrel doing a lot of the talking here. And it's just nice, easy-going sipping, to be honest. There's not a fault in it. There's no ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes on the taste. Again, for me, there was a little bit of alcohol on the nose, but it doesn't really show up on the taste. It is an easy sipper. Maybe drinks a little thin if I really want to kind of be a little nitpicky. But for its price point, I got to give it credit. That 10-year age statement really does it a good job, but you kind of wish for a little bit more, in my opinion. All right, let's go for taste on the 1924. Wow. That is so much more flavor going on for me today. The oiliness is really showcased well on this bottle. It's rich, it's sweet, a little chocolatey, a little tobacco going on in there right now for me as well. And a little bit of that corn sweetness is also showing up on the taste. I gotta give that credit. That has got so much body to it. And yes, you could say Garrett's 50% ABV and this is 45, and that 5% really does drive it home. And you could be totally right on that. I'm not gonna disagree with that. But boy, oh boy, that's a good sip too. It does drink thinner than the 1924, which is expected, but it holds itself pretty well. The corn's notes are showing up a little bit stronger in the Russell's Reserve versus the 1924, but the 1924 has got all the rich body that you want in an older whiskey, in my opinion. The moment it hits your palate, it is just got all those wood sugars and oily and well profiled classic bourbon notes, but that age statement to really back it up. All right, let's talk about market price, because we all know market price is market price, and it's always going to vary. Now, to be honest, this can be kind of a difficult decision. In my market here in Indiana, I could pick this up with a little bit of hunting for about $30, maybe less than 35. Though I've seen some stores sell this as high in the 40s to closer to $50. The 1924 SRP on this is $120, and already the secondary prices are just skyrocketing on it to $200-$300. So we got to think about this in a perfect world scenario. I could again pick this up here for $30. This one cost me $110, so I actually got it for a little bit less than SRP on that. I mean, obviously, all day, every day for $30, I can get roughly almost 4 bottles of this to 1 bottle of this. On pure value, the Russell Reserve spanks the 1924. My biggest criticism is I wish this was closer to $100. If I'm going off of pure flavors, the 1924 spanks the Russell's Reserve, in my opinion. I personally like oakier, fruitier bourbons. For me, those orchard fruits mixed in there with the berries and that deep oiliness from the barrel itself is what really seals the deal for me on the 1924. I respect if you're not a big oaky bourbon fan. Personally, I am again. But based off of price itself, obviously the Russell's Reserve really hits the nail on the head. But if you get the option to pick up the 1924 at near retail pricing, I'd say give it a taste. If you're like Old Forester's profile, they do a great job. I love it. However, for the $120 SRP asking price on this one, it is still a little too rich for me just based on that price point. But based on flavors, the 1924 wins it. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Russell's Reserve 10-year versus Old Forester 1924 10-year. If you have questions about either bottle, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any bottles I should put up against each other, also let me know down below. Love doing these kind of A/B comparisons. Helps me learn, helps you learn at home, and hopefully make a smart decision with your money. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, and I really like it might